Good evening. Welcome to Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only LGBTQ plus daily evening television show, broadcasting live and available on demand. Available on all smart televisions, including Roku, Apple TV, Android TV, Amazon Fire TV. Wait, I'm getting hit by all angles. YouTube and Facebook. It's time to queer up the news. It's Wednesday, September 7th, 2022. We are live and literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we're going to tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
This is the world's first live daily LGBTQ evening news show, literally out of the closet and into the headlines on Queer News Tonight with Al Ferguson.
Hola, mi gente. I am your anchor at Queer News Tonight, FayWhat? Filling in for Mr. Al Ferguson. I know you miss him. He'll be back next week. This evening, we bring you the news of and perspective representing the LGBTQ plus community from South Florida, America, and across our planet.
This is the world's first and only unedited live LGBTQ plus evening news show. Whatever happens unique in LGBTQ plus news, you'll see it and hear it.
Happening Out Television Network is a 501c3 nonprofit media platform in the television and radio model of PBS and NPR, but designed for our LGBTQ plus community.
We are part of one of the largest LGBTQ plus media companies in America, Hotspots Magazine and Happening Out Television Network.
Our magazine is celebrating 36 years of the LGBTQ plus experience and our television news. Talk and entertainment shows support our mission to educate the LGBTQ plus and broader community.
That's what's up. So let's begin by welcoming anchor Dan Rios. He's the director of LGBTQ plus marketing for the Greater Miami Convention and Visitors Bureau, the official destination marketing organization for Greater Miami and Miami Beach, joining their marketing and tourism division in 2002. Dan is considered one of America's top experts. I think he is the top expert, all right, on LGBTQ plus travel and tourism. Welcome back, Dan.
Thank you so much. It's great to be here. Let's welcome John Hayden, a journalist for 27 years. He now works for several outlets, including South Florida Gay News, community editor covering politics, entertainment, and local events directly impacting the LGBTQ plus community. John's interviewed everyone from presidents to Oscar winners and has been on more red carpets than he can count. He is also happy and relieved to announce that he survived spending time with Armie Hammer. Welcome, John.
Oh my God, I love
story.
that. I love that new intro, John. You have to, you can't just continue without telling us about that. So there's a new documentary, right? About
there is.
About
how creepy Armie Hammer is. He's come from a line of creepy dudes in his family, and apparently this generation is into cannibalism. So like, it was one of the, it's a three-parter. It's about 3 hours. I couldn't stop. Like I had to pee so bad by the end of it because I would not get up and
you just put in a knot and just said, I'm going to sit here and watch the whole thing. But you say that he's not this way, that he was not this way when you met him?
He did not put off a creepy vibe at all. Like a bunch of us, of my friends, you know, from Kansas City, all the cities around North America, we've all been on our phones this week going like, we had no idea. Because, you know, sometimes people are like, oh, yeah, he was creepy and we know, we're not surprised when the shiz goes down.
Yeah.
No, we're all like, oh my God.
Had you met him before?
Before this documentary?
Oh yeah. I've interviewed him.
A bunch of
my friends have interviewed him. Yeah. Now I didn't get to interview him on any of his good movies. I got him for like Lone Ranger. I mean, you know.
Who saw that? Well, now when everybody watches this documentary, they're going to think of you and your time with him.
I hope so. That's the point of the documentary. Yeah. So, and as you mentioned, I am a reporter and editor at South Florida Gay News, and today is a day of change at the paper and online. We are welcoming our new publisher, Jason Parsley. He has been our associate publisher for over a decade. Today, he takes over as publisher as our founder, Norm Kent, steps back and focuses on his health. He's been fighting cancer for the last couple of years, and he is going to focus on the most important thing, and that's himself. As for Jason, he is amazing. He will be a wonderful steward of an independent voice for the LGBTQ plus community. And of course, I can look forward to continue working with him as well. And for Norm, get better soon.
Yes, and Norm, we're sending you well wishes. You have dedicated so much of your time and life to our community, and we say thank you. And Jason, you know, we're in good hands with Jason, so we're okay as well. Thank you for letting us know about that, John.
Yeah. Absolutely. And now let's welcome Anchor Glen Biter, Glen Weinzimer. Glen is the founder of the Smart Ride, an annual 2-day, 165-mile bike ride from Miami to Key West. Their glutes must be fabulous. The Smart Ride has raised nearly $14 million for AIDS and HIV service organizations across Florida in the last 18 years. Now, Glen also owns Bona Italian restaurant in the heart of Wilton Manors. Bona Italian holds weekly Give Back Mondays. In the past 4.5 years, Bona has raised and returned more than $50,000 to help local organizations meet their missions. Welcome, Glen.
Thank you, John, and everyone. It's always great to be here and to see everybody.
I'm so happy to see you, Glen.
Well, I'm happy to see you, too.
I love you and everything that you do, and I have to say
thank
that
you.
I have a bone to pick with you because I'm kind of pissed at you.
Because I didn't bring garlic knots?
That's kind of the main reason that you didn't bring garlic knots. I stood on a scale this morning and I gained 4
Oh, no.
And it's because of your damn garlic
No,
knots.
it's
It
not
really
true.
is because of your garlic knots.
You choose to take extras home with you.
Because they're delicious. If
Everyone
you made
else-
them less delicious, I wouldn't.
But the people around the table never get a chance because you have got a sharp knife and don't let them have any of them.
I'm Puerto Rican with a knife. Go
You are, and I'm a New Yorker, and I understand, so whatever. Anyway, I am happy to be here. This week we've got for Smart Ride, we just finished our pool party 2 weeks ago, and we've got a bowling event coming up on Saturday, which should be a lot of fun at Manor Lanes. Raise some more money to help produce the event itself, so we're excited about that.
Let's go bowling, folks.
Let's go bowling Saturday. Just go to our website, thesmartride.org, and you can get your tickets and sign up your team. Okay, let's move on. Let's welcome anchor DJ Nena, resident what?
Hola.
Hola. I thought you corrected how I said your name. Now I lost my place.
Oh,
Okay.
you said it perfectly.
Thank you. DJ Nena, resident DJ for Lit Bar, Wilton Manors, and military veteran from New Jersey. We salute you, wrong arm. DJ Nena has a BM in commercial music technology and an MA in English in creative writing. She has been a local DJ and music producer for the LGBTQ community of South Florida for over 20 years, which I still find hard to believe that you're that old, or that you started that early. Good evening, DJ Nena.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Nice. Good to have you here,
I'm
Miss
so
Nena.
excited
How's
to
everything
be
going over at
here.
Lit Bar? You are blowing things up over there in a good way.
Lit Bar is thebomb.com. You have to come on Friday nights. It's 80s, 90s, and 2000s. It is the retro flashback MTV party. Well, NTV, DJ Nena TV. So you got to come back and definitely hit us up on a Friday night. We love to throw a good throwback jam. And our
Awesome.
Saturday nights are now pumping up with a lot of hip hop and Latin music, which is my thing. So I hope you guys come because it is the hottest spot on the drive.
Nice.
Yes. Now,
I brought drink tickets, did you?
I'm sorry?
I brought drink tickets for everyone, did you?
You brought drink tickets?
Did I
That
have
means
them
that
in
you
my
should have
bag?
brought drink tickets from Lit. That's what Glenn is trying to tell you.
So basically, he's saying that I didn't hook him up. So
Yeah.
I'm just saying
He
I'm going
didn't
to hook
bring
you up.
garlic rolls, so
But I brought-
well, then there you
statement.
go. See,
All right, we'll let it go.
that just got canceled out then.
Look at the time.
In case you don't know, we are the reporters for Queer News Tonight. And this evening, we begin with the queer headlines. The LGBTQ plus community in South Florida and across America is diverse. Our community across the world is vast, and here are the bullet points of the queer news for today, Wednesday, September 7th, 2022.
It's going to be a fun show, folks. It took us 10 minutes to just get through that. All right. Al is never going to let me host again. All right. That's what happens when you leave us. You know, that's what happens. Let's begin by queering up entertainment. Country singer Maren Morris raised more than $100,000 to spite Tucker Carlson.
Recently, she uploaded a video to Instagram. It showed her putting on makeup. It's on your screen right now. And then she added this caption to the footage, and we're quoting. "I'd really like to thank my parents for not changing my gender when I went through my tomboy phase. I love this girly life." And then her husband responded with this caption. He wrote, quote, "I'm glad they didn't too, because you and I wouldn't have worked out." That was it. Now, no sane society would have a problem with or even notice words like that. But in 2022, this is a thought crime. You're required to believe that minors should be castrated by their parents. So there was massive backlash online. A country music singer called Cassidy Pope accused Aldine of wronging LGBTQ plus people for writing that. And then a lunatic called Maren Morris, some kind of fake country music singer, went all the way. She wrote this: It's so easy to be like not a scumbag human. Sell your clip-ins and zip it insurrection Barbie. And then, of course, Brittany Aldean was attacked up and down the American media for telling a transphobic joke, which they never quoted at all. You had no idea what she said. We just showed you what she said. They really attacked her. To her great credit, she's not backing down. In fact, she's got a new clothing line out called Don't Tread on Kids, and we are honored to have Brittany Aldean join us tonight. Brittany, thanks so much for coming on. The more I read about this, the more I was legitimately shocked by the dishonesty of the response, by the viciousness, especially from that second woman. Awful. Were you surprised by this?
Yes, I was extremely surprised. In saying my response, I never thought that there was anything wrong with it. I think I'm advocating for children. I think that children should not be allowed to make these life-changing decisions at such a young age. They are not mature enough. They should have parents that love them and advocate for them regardless. We have ages on everything, right? We have it for cigarettes, we have it for driving, we have it for military voting. Yet, for some reason, people think that we can let a child choose their gender so young. It's very baffling to me.
Country singer Maren Morris raised over $100,000 for transgender rights after Fox News host Tucker Carlson called her a, quote, lunatic country music person on his last show last week. Carlson commented in response to Morris's criticism of anti-transgender remarks by Brittany Aldean, who is also the wife of country star Jason Aldean. On August 23rd, Brittany Aldean posted an Instagram video of herself with a comment saying, quote, I'd really like to thank my parents for not changing my gender when I went through my tomboy phase. I love this girly life, end quote. To which her husband responded by writing something positively. 2 days later, singer-songwriter Cassidy Pope criticized the post on social media, which Morris supported. Brittany Aldean responded to the backlash the same day with a story shared on her Instagram account, saying, quote, advocating for the genital mutilation of children under the disguise of love and calling it gender-affirming care is one of the worst evils, end quote. On September 1st, this social media war intensified when Jason Aldean's PR firm for 17 years decided to part ways with the singer, though it didn't mention the reason. Soon, Brittany Aldean came on Tucker Carlson Tonight in defense of her comments, where Carlson described Morris as a lunatic country music person. Morris later shared a photo of a t-shirt that has her name and lunatic country music person, along with the phone number for Trans Life. She also announced that the proceeds for the shirt will be directed towards Trans Lifeline and the Transgender Media Program at GLAAD. Within just 2 hours, the shirt raised $63,000. Later, Morris said that she totally has surpassed the $100,000 mark. Trans Lifeline and GLAAD thanked Morris for this. What do you folks think?
Well,
where do we begin?
I would start with one of those shirts, that's for sure.
I want to get that shirt too. I know it's going to sell out also.
We should all buy a shirt and wear it on Queer News Tonight.
We really should.
Let's do it.
Yes. We really should. And you guys know, like country music, I'm a huge country music fan. There's not too many brown people who are country music fans. And there aren't not too many LGBTQ plus folks that are big supporters of country music because they're not ones that really support us, in a lot of aspects. Now, I want to give this chick Insurrection Barbie. I love when they called her that. I want to give Brittany Aldean the benefit of the fact and just say maybe she's just stupid. Maybe she's just not educated. Maybe she just doesn't have any gay people in her life, and maybe that's why she commented and made this post this way, that it wasn't really an attack towards us, that maybe she just didn't know. Her and Mr. Aldean don't seem like people that will have a drag brunch in their home, welcoming us in for Sunday Fun Day. Do you guys think that?
Oh, you're absolutely right. She is, if she's ignorant, then she's willfully ignorant. And her husband, I've interviewed him by satellite. Fortunately, I never had to be in the same room with him. But you always just kind of feel like, he's not sharp. And that's the way he talks. And but the reason that people like the Aldeans get support for these ignorant arguments is because they're directed to ignorant people who hear this gender, male, female, and there's always a binary choice for these people. And they're just, they're terrible people. But then we've got people like Maren Morris, who is there and has our back. And she said, she's like, oh, parents want to be accepted, so they try and do all this hip stuff. No. parents want their kids to be accepted. Most importantly, they want their kids to be accepted by themselves.
Yes.
And that's what the Aldines and their ilk don't get.
Yeah.
And I think that the fact that she refers to her tomboy days is something to be confused with someone who thinks they're trans or is transgender. That's the mistake she's making. You know, in order for a doctor to go ahead and start a procedure of hormone blockers or things like that, those kids have to go through therapy. They don't just come into the doctor's office on Monday and start therapy on Tuesday.
It's Monday,
but she makes
do this.
right. She makes it sound like, well, because I was Bush, my parents could have tricked me into becoming a boy. Like, that's not how it works.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't work that way. It's a whole deeper thing than just, I feel like being a tomboy and I want to play sports. That doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
But there's clearly an agenda here. So
Yeah.
it was a way to start selling this ridiculous clothing line that she's peddling.
Oh my God, what
So-
was it called? Hold on. Don't tread on kids.
Don't tread on
Don't
kids.
tread on kids.
So this is the way to introduce this conversation and then get support from all the weirdos.
Well, and it's
that are
confusing. Don't tread on kids could be a positive thing. You know,
Okay, well, can you explain the don't tread on me thing? Like, I went to, I don't know, some weird hippie place, and like they had Confederate flags everywhere, and they had shirts with the snake, and it said, don't tread on me. What does that mean?
Are you sure it was a hippie place and not a hillbilly place?
No, it was a hillbilly place. It was a hillbilly place. Like, the H is messed up. You know, in Spanish, the H's are J's, and it's a whole big thing, right? But what does that mean exactly?
What means it's the Confederate flag is a dog whistle for racism, for oppression, for states' rights, which is a dog whistle for the right to do what? Well, to oppress black people,
To discriminate.
to tell homosexuals what they can and cannot do. So that's what those things are. And in the back, you'll probably of that shop, not necessarily that shop because I don't want to be sued, but in back some of those shops, you can probably find a bunch of probably legal sawed-off shotguns that they're moving out the back of the store for, $100 a piece. I mean, they are deranged, anti-American, anti-patriotic people cloaked in the flag. Unfortunately, of course, that flag is the Confederate flag.
Oh, God. That's true. And Tucker Carlson will take advantage of that and go, come on, get on my show real quick. Let's show these people. Don't tread on our kids. And have a feeling that she's going to have a lot of support in that stupid clothing line. And let's just say that, there are country music stars that aren't like this person. Maren Morris, supporting us with $100,000 over to the trans organization. Cassidy Pope as well. My favorite, Tay-Tay. Taylor Swift loves us like no other, and she's country, So, hey, give some country music a chance, just not that Aldine guy. He seems kind of very slow, like John said. All right, Dan, what's
Okay,
up?
and with that, let's queer up the worldview. Irish teacher jailed after refusing to respect pronouns. As per news published by Ireland's state broadcaster RTE, a teacher in Ireland was jailed this week for violating a court order which prevented him from joining back the school. The prevention was imposed during disciplinary proceedings when he refused to use the student's new name and gender-neutral pronouns. As per the news, in May, a student at a secondary school in County Westmeath requested the transition of Enoch Burke, who teaches German, history, politics, and debate, as he reportedly refused to use their name and pronouns, RTE said. When Burke and other school staff were asked by the principal to use the pronoun they to refer to the student, Burke refused to comply, saying it went against his Christian beliefs. The school board discussed Burke's response, commissioned a report, and arranged a disciplinary meeting in which it declined to let Burke be on temporary paid administrative leave until the disciplinary process completes. However, Burke kept showing up at the school every day to conduct his classes. The school had to take a court injunction preventing Burke from entering the school building, which he violated, saying it was against his conscience. Burke was brought in front of a judge where he was found to be in contempt of court. As per the news report, the case is due back in court on Wednesday.
And he was back in court today. And you know where he is tonight?
Where?
Jail.
Shut it.
He is going to be in jail for at least another week while the court is hearing this because he refused to say, I will stay away. They didn't even force him or ask him to use the correct pronouns. All they said was, you have to respect the court order and stay away. So he's in jail because he wouldn't stay away from the school from where he was suspended and would probably be fired. He was suspended or probably fired because he doesn't treat his students with respect. And Ireland, it's a very Catholic country, but they voted 62% in favor of marriage equality a few years ago. 62% for equality. So that should tell you right now where they are, and this guy isn't listening. And by the way, pronouns weren't in the Bible, people.
I was going to say that, right? They were not in the okay, but this guy has a lot more problems than just not using his pronouns correctly. I mean, he's got some mental health issues that somebody needs to address real quick, you know?
Come on, man. You can't just show up when they tell you don't show up.
Yeah, right.
Stay home.
He's gonna go scan his card. Bleep, I'm here. Children, sit down. The children are like, what the hell?
Why are you here?
Yeah.
You know?
And there's a substitute in the room, and he just pushes them out of the way, and it's still my room. Just kept talking. That's crazy.
You know, I don't get it. And it's just, you know, I've met older folks that have said, look, I can't wrap my head around anything new. I can't figure out this new pronouns. Can you help me? And it's like, my God, I want to go, thank you for just taking the time. It's not an easy thing, you know, people don't like change. But I mean, sir, if I called you Mr. Lucky Charms, would you like that? No, you would be the one to call Mr. Burke, right? I mean, so if that is what you asked me to call you, that's what I'm going to ask you. So if your student wants to be they or them, allow them to be their true authentic self and stop being a dick.
It's really that simple.
It really is.
And when the court says don't show up, don't show up. It's really that simple also.
I picked up with this girl one day, and she would not stop showing up in my house every morning with breakfast. And I was like, girl, I dumped you a week ago. Why are you still here? But give me that macchiato because it looks good, right? Like,
Why did she still have keys to your house?
oh, I should have taken those.
That would have helped.
But wait a minute, the more traumatizing part of this is that they're educators. And these are the type of people that we're putting in front of children.
No.
So that, that's very scary. Anyway.
Well, we have a teacher shortage, and I guess that's across the world. So maybe that's why.
And what a shock, he teaches German. Okay, let's clear up South Florida gay news. The United Nations weighs in on trans rights in Florida. While all members of the LGBTQ plus community face increased hostility and attempts to roll back hard-won rights, none have faced more state-sanctioned hate than members of Florida's trans community. Now, the United Nations is taking notice and weighing in. In this week's South Florida Gay News, online and on stands tomorrow, I look at UN representatives' visit to Miami and his meeting with our leaders of our community, our trans community to be specific. Victor Madrigal Borlaz, the United Nations independent expert on protections against violence and discrimination based on sexual orientation and gender identity, recently met with members of Trans Inclusive Group, who shared the mounting social and legal challenges facing the trans community. Now, the Biden administration has taken steps to extend protections for the trans community through executive orders and rules at federal departments, including the Departments of Agriculture and Education. But the real threat, at the moment, is in state houses across the country, including Florida and Tallahassee. After the meeting, Trans Inclusive Group Executive Director Tatiana Williams said, quote, "Speaking with the United Nations was so important because it broadens our world on a global scale and puts our local community members in a space where we are able to tell our personal stories," end quote. Madrigal Borlaz says the message was heard, saying, quote, "Despite 5 decades of progress, equality is not within reach and often not within sight for all persons impacted by violence and discrimination based on sexual orientation and gender identity. I am deeply alarmed by a widespread, profoundly negative riptide created by deliberate actions to roll back the human rights of LGBT people at the state level," end quote. And you can read more of his comments in my story in SFGN this week.
Online and stand tomorrow.
Yes.
Wow. So where do we begin with this, John? First of all, let me say that I love Tatiana Williams, the ED of Trans Social. She is just such an incredible human. You don't even have to talk to her. She could just stand in front of you and you feel like a better person just by breathing her air.
Absolutely.
So let's start there. Okay. So, and what a great quote from her. So tell me more about this.
Well, obviously, we all know that the Republicans in Tallahassee and across the country really have been targeting our trans community and our trans children more than any other group. So the UN, this representative went on a 10-city tour. And of course, Miami was one of the stops and probably the most controversial city, honestly, because he went to a lot of other cities, San Francisco, New York. These are very accepting places. And while Miami is accepting, the state of Florida is really not. No. So this was about getting a message out. And they didn't just share the struggles that we're having. They also talked about their successes. And believe it or not, there are some, but they're at a lot of times a very micro level, a very personal level, helping individual or helping one small community.
A story here and there.
Yeah, so she was able to share what works for us, but most importantly, she was able to get the attention of a world body a worldwide, because this person's going to go back. He's already filed a report after each city, but he's going to file an overall report that's going to detail the stupidity and the hate that's happening in America on a daily basis, and especially every January when legislatures go back into session.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, with all these anti-trans bills that have been thrown at us here in Florida, especially, like, it's just, you know, these are our brothers and sisters that they're targeting, you know, and it's like some people think, okay, like, you know, if we stopped fighting for the T in LGBTQ+, maybe we would get farther, you know, in this fight of ours. Like, you know, we're about to start a fight with marriage equality, which should not be called marriage equality. It should just be called, you know, marriage rights, you know? Yeah. You know, I, for one, and mostly everybody at this table agree that no, it's all for one and one for all. We all go along with it and that's it. But many folks think that if we did drop the T and the plus and the two-spirited, that we'd probably get farther in this game.
They're wrong.
At what cost?
think so.
At what exactly? At what cost?
Yeah, you're my sacrificial lamb. I'm like, no one is a sacrificial lamb, so that we can protect ourselves. Because eventually they come for they knock that one out of the way. Then let's go after the B. Let's go after the T. Let's go after the G. It doesn't stop at just we quieted them down.
Right, because they get a taste of blood.
Right.
They want more and more and more and more, so they keep rolling back.
Yeah, it's awful.
Thank you, John, for your story.
You're very welcome.
Online
And
on stand tomorrow.
So excited.
Oh, it's me again. Let's queer politics. Targeting LGBTQ plus rights is a standard authoritarian practice. In the last 3 decades, many laws and regulations have been made across the world in the protection of LGBT rights. However, there exists a threat in the form of emerging populist authoritarianism, as abolishing sexual freedom is often at the heart of repressive political projects. In 2016, Colombia appeared as a legislative paradise for the LGBT community when a court ruling was passed to secure a range of family rights for same-sex couples, including the protection of LGBT students in schools. But toward the end of the year, the country held a plebiscite on a peace agreement between the Colombian government and the Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia, the guerrillas, where only a small majority of 50.2% rejected the agreement. A key factor that directed the no electorate was the moral panic created by the inclusion of gender, women's rights, and LGBT-related provisions in the peace agreement. Extremist groups decried these provisions, calling them a part of gender ideology. After the suicide of a queer student, the Constitutional Court directed the government to carry out an existing law detailing measures to protect LGBT students. Needless to say, the conservative groups attacked the decision by making social media a battleground where the fate of Colombia's peace was blended with the fate of LGBT people. Many Colombians took the side of conservative groups against the peace process and the court's decision, believing that the peace deal will empower gender ideology through gender and LGBT inclusive provisions. This juxtaposition between success in court and the mobilization of anti-LGBT sentiment left many questioning the idea of using law reform as a primary strategy to advance LGBT rights. This is a very complicated story. Like we've talked about a little bit earlier. You don't know like where it's coming from, but other than the fact that LGBT is under attack in a country that I would least expect, like Colombia, to have these rights, and trying to create peace, they're negotiating out the safety of the LGBT community.
Well, look, it took one person committing suicide, thoughts to that person's family. One queer student that just couldn't take the bullying anymore and committed suicide. It took that person to make a difference. Here people are unfortunately in awful conditions and thinking of suicide constantly, and it doesn't even make a Republican flinch and go, hey, maybe I should be listening to the other side.
It makes them happy.
It makes them happy.
Does.
It puts a pep in their step, actually. I'm half Colombian, and I was thinking about, I was talking to Dan beforehand, that you're constantly invited to go there for LGBTQ functions, etc. Right?
Absolutely. It's a very, very open, very progressive country. So, but this is an example again of, for political reasons, LGBTQ plus people are being used as pawns to forward an agenda, really. So it's very frightening.
I think a lot of times it's one minority silencing other minorities until they're the loudest minority and the only minority left standing. You know, I mean, the Republicans have been a minority party in America for decades now.
It's true.
The fact, you know, they've won the popular vote in a presidential election once since 1988. So they're used to governing from the minority. So America is a playbook for authoritarianism, unwittingly.
That's true.
Anybody else?
I didn't realize that Colombia was so widely open. I have not had the chance to visit Colombia yet. It's one of those like dream destinations.
Gorillas and
It is
cocaine in
beautiful.
bandeja paisa.
Oh my God, I
There you
can't.
go.
All in one.
It's a
At the
beautiful
same
place.
table.
Hot mess. I want to go there and play an event. You know, that's what I really want to do. I'm like, I want to go. Let's party. But let's just queer up the worldview. Okay, on the front lines in Ukraine, LGBTQ+ soldiers find acceptance.
It dates back to 2014 when Russian war started, and lots of people just said there are no gay people in the army, and so they chose the unicorn because it's like a fantastic non-existent creature. And so it became the symbol of LGBTQ people in the army.
Gay defense volunteers are getting all the respect they deserve in socially conservative Ukraine. Amidst bomb explosions, former U.S. Marine Eddie Atu explained why he gave up his peaceful life on the Californian coast to volunteer in the Ukraine military where it battles Russia's invasion. He is a 37-year-old who is fighting alongside Ukrainian army reservists east of the Black Sea port of Odessa. He has faced live fire and has seen live missile strike, but what is keeping him motivated is the fact that he can proudly wear the unicorn badge of LGBTQ+ troops in Ukraine. Atu said being able to wear the unicorn insignia without issues feels amazing. There is a sense of fulfillment in helping people fight for their existence, and in return, they welcome you with open arms. Many LGBTQ+ fighters participated in the Ukrainian military during the invasion, wearing the unicorn logo on their uniforms. Before the war, conservative elements in Ukraine frequently spoke against the rights of LGBTQ+ people, and the members of the far-right targeted groups and events linked to the community. However, many activists believe that the participation of these LGBTQ+ fighters has strengthened public support for gay and transgender rights in the largely socially conservative nation. This is fantastic news. As all of you may know, I'm a military veteran. And in my day, when I was in the military, I was in during the time of don't ask, don't tell.
Jeez.
So actually, you know what? Don't ask, don't tell actually happened just right after I got out of the military. So actually, I was in before we even had the little blurb of, we're not going to ask as long as
you don't
say
tell
anything.
us.
Right.
Exactly. You know, but this is, I marvel at this because I'm actually very surprised and pleased that we're in a different age where we're actually accepted even, on the front line.
During war.
Regimes, I mean,
Oh, yeah, sure.
that's huge.
Well,
and I never expected to see that in my lifetime, to be honest with you. So that makes me extremely proud.
Well, and give this man like the highest kudos ever. He could just be a 37-year-old chilling in California, and instead he went to freaking Ukraine to fight with them.
There's a real
hand in
man.
hand. I mean, and also I'm so glad that they didn't make, and this may sound effed up or whatever, but I'm so glad that they didn't make the unicorn rainbowy. I'm glad that they d't make it, gay. Okay.
It's exactly what I was thinking.
I'm so sorry to say that. A unicorn is pretty gay. They don't know that if they exist or not, then they're beautiful and white with pink and all this kind of stuff. And the emblem, the logo is just a calm down unicorn. And I respect that and I appreciate that. Yet you still know that they're representing.
Yeah.
So
it's really a nice high badge of honor to be able to put that on your uniform. That's not something I would have ever been able to put on my military uniform when I was serving. If I had that, forget it. I would still be walking around wearing a uniform. Like, hi.
And many ladies want you to walk around with your uniform. So whenever you want, you should
Or just the patch.
Next time at Lit. Just the patch.
Just the patch is two, yeah.
2 patches. Screw it. Just get 1 patch and we'll be fine.
That'll work.
Next, we queer up trans rights. Chelsea Clinton calls out GOP's attack on trans youth. Chelsea Clinton participated in a virtual press conference on September 6th where she called out legislation against attacks against the trans community. She was present to promote her new show, Gutsy, on Apple TV+. Chelsea, who is 42 years old, I can't believe she's 42 years old, wow. She's 42 years old, spoke to Hollywood Life and expressed her disappointment towards laws from Republicans against members of the LGBTQ+ community, especially transgender kids. She warned about the negative impact of these laws on other issues, saying that these laws are an attack on the honest telling of American history, on teachers who want to educate students, and on parents wanting their children to have the best care possible, including gender-affirming care. Chelsea requested Americans to stand up in support of trans kids and their families when they vote in upcoming elections. She expressed a need for gutsiness and to use voices to stand up, vote, and call attention to the issues harming society in order to amplify good where it is happening. Chelsea also implored people to try to protect women and kids and to advance more opportunities for everyone so that they all can live their best, fullest lives. The former First Lady of the U.S., Hillary Clinton, who was also available during the press conference, expressed her views following the reversal of Roe v. Wade, saying that there is a need for women to have their voices heard, experiences respected, and we want to help make it happen in every way possible. Oh, I love this. I still can't believe Chelsea's 42. But I mean, everything that both of them said, Chelsea and her mom, like, just nailed everything on the head as to like what we wish that right-wing folks would understand, or the Tucker Carlson viewers of the world would be able to see. We're not awful people. We just want kids to live their best and true and authentic life. And I don't think that's a lot to ask for.
Yeah. You know, this drops Friday on Apple TV. So I've already cleared out a block of time in my Friday schedule. It's going to be, it's a docuseries, and it's like them talking about serious issues while having fun. Like they're playing Jenga with some celebrities and they're talking to local people, like Tatiana Williams is not in it, but people like that. They go to communities and meet with activists as well. So it's celebrities, it's real people on the ground, and it's very cool. But what you're not going to be seeing in this is a lot of like behind the scene insight into the Clinton marriage. There's a little bit of discussion in, I think the entire thing is played in the trailer, like just to kind of get us in, but you're not going to see a lot of that. It's going to be focused on real, it's not going to be super sensational. It's going to be focused on real topics, real issues affecting women, which means that they're affecting America. Yeah. But, you know, most of the celebrities they talk with, I've interviewed already, so, you know, late to the party, but, you know, welcome.
Oh my God.
Wow.
Wow.
Every opportunity.
All of them. Well, let's see, Tiffany Haddish. I don't know if you know, but that we...
yes, you were engaged to her for a short period of time.
I was. It was just wonderful. I miss you, Tiff.
I think this is great, and I did see the previews for Gutsy. I think it's amazing that both Hillary and Chelsea are out there. They're not campaigning for any election. They're just being real people making a difference, and I love the fact that they care enough to make a difference. That they want to see people that their strengths and the best foot forward is seen by others, and that they give them credit for what they're doing. I think this show is amazing, and the fact that people hate Hillary just to hate Hillary just confuses me. I've never understood that. And here she's doing something amazing. I love it. I love the story.
And it feels authentic. Like, it doesn't feel like BS. You know how many times like we'll see like a TV show and it's like, it doesn't feel like that's really them. Like they're just trying to play the role to get the votes or to get whatever. It doesn't feel that way. Chelsea and Hillary were both on The View this morning, and they were just so fantastic, you know?
They've got a great relationship.
They do. Yeah. Well, I mean, they don't hang out with Bill, right? They got to hang out with each other, right?
You know?
I'll hang out with you, Bill. I love Bill Clam and his little saxophone.
Did you see Bill at watching Serena Williams play the other night? He was sitting next to Dr. Ruth, and she looked like she was telling him.
She's still alive?
Yeah. And she was sitting there like,
oh my God, I manifested Dr. Ruth. I just thought about her today. Like, I really thought to myself, I wonder if Dr. Ruth is still alive. Like, you know, you told me to watch this new show, Sex Education.
You got to watch it.
And when you told me that, I thought of Dr. Ruth. And I'm like, oh, she's probably dead, pobrecita. No, she's still kicking it.
She was at the match, sitting next to Bill Clinton, looking like she was giving him advice. Because he was just turning colors, and she's like, you can't do that. We were all trying to insert words into whatever conversation was going on. If you even remotely recorded that, just dial back and watch that.
I see that.
Because even the reporters were sitting there going, what do you think they're talking about? So
they're probably talking about their next Amazon order, whatever.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm very excited about Hillary and Chelsea. I think that they're going to do a fantastic job with this brand new show. It's a nice spotlight. It's a mother and daughter show. Why not? You know, we need something better.
Look, and Chelsea, again, my vainness, Chelsea looks good again.
Right?
Like, though that age, like, she was weird. Like, she just looked weird, and you just went, ay, pobrecita. Maybe she'll grow into that head, right? And like, now you see her, she's like a pretty woman.
She's
it
beautiful.
took her to hit 40 to be pretty. pretty.
I mean,
and some
look at her.
keratin. But like, wow. Keratin,
She's got her mom's cheeks.
John, keratin is for the hair, just in case you don't know what that's for. I just wanted to make sure that you knew.
It works on me, just in different parts.
No, she does look great.
TMI.
She absolutely great. But I must say, I have to tell a little story that Dr. Ruth was my first celebrity that I waited on when I was still a waiter in New York.
Shut up.
So yeah, so I actually.
What did she eat?
Oh, that I don't remember.
Hot dogs.
No, but it was at a Liberty Cafe in.
The jumbo.
Sausage and papaya. I can't.
Yeah, so I was starstruck. I remember I was very, very young, like 15 or so.
Did she tip well?
She did tip well.
She did tip well.
Yeah.
And when you were 15, she probably looks exactly the same now, all
She
those
totally
years later,
does.
right?
I mean, but she looks so, I hate to say this, but she looks so old back then.
But she's always
Yeah.
looked at,
Yeah.
it's the sex.
Yeah.
The sex has
Don't
kept her
say
around
that.
No, the sex has kept her around forever.
okay.
Not that the sex has gotten her old.
Okay, I thought it had her looking bad.
No, I mean, look how good I look, and I have sex at least 3 times a day. That's why I'm always late for things. All right,
three
Dan.
Okay.
I don't want to go and delve into that.
Okay. Next, we are proud of our special partnership with Sunshine Cathedral, the world's largest queer church here in Fort Lauderdale. Supporting that partnership, we are broadcasting from our permanent set here at Sunshine Cathedral at the Happening Out television studios. We broadcast Sunshine Cathedral's Sunday International Service at 10:30 a.m. with more than 30,000 watching every week.
I'm Jason Parsley. I'm the executive editor of the South Florida Gay News, and Sunshine Cathedral is my queer church.
Hey, Jason. So we finished tonight's Queer News headlines with a segment that we call LGBTQ plus 1 Minute News.
LGBTQ plus 1 minute news. Let's queer up entertainment. From LGBTQ plus news partner Gaiety and writer Caitlin McDaniel. Disney series High School Musical, the series, gets more queer. Here is a spoiler alert for all HSMTMTS fans. In this week's episode of High School Musical, the series, where the campers are fighting a color war, you will see Ashlyn tackling her feelings. Her frequently snapping at camp choreographer Val, and I don't think they mean, and mentioning Big Red as her male boyfriend when Val brings his letter to her, pointing at something exciting. Later in the episode, you will see Ashlyn apologizing to Val, where Val goes in for a hug, and Ashlyn says, "Oh, that's why." It's a beautiful realization moment fans are gushing about online, and you can find out more at gaiety.co.
LGBTQ plus 1 minute news. Let's queer up education. From LGBTQ plus news partner Queerity and writer Dan Tracer. Florida high school to decide if seniors are old enough to learn about LGBTQ plus under Don't Say Gay. Florida students are learning an unfortunate lesson on institutional bigotry as the state's parental rights in education law, aka Don't Say Gay, law remains intact due to the damage. Intact to do the damage. As if this is not enough, the Miami-Dade School Board is set to vote on whether teaching LGBTQ history is, quote, age appropriate. For high school seniors, this 90-member strong board will decide whether Miami-Dade schools should be allowed to include 2 crucial LGBTQ rights Supreme Court cases in the 12th grade social studies curriculum. The board will also decide whether the district that is responsible for educating over 334,000 students should recognize October as LGBTQ History Month. Find out more at www.queerity.com.
LGBTQ plus 1 minute news. Let's queer up education. From LGBTQ plus news partner out in Jersey and writer Lisa Intrabartola. Rutgers University to unveil new Pride campus bus this month. Rutgers University of New Brunswick is set to wave its pride flag on the 30th anniversary of the Center for Social Justice, Education, and LGBT Communities, SJE. The university will be decorating the campus bus with a colorful pride wrap on September 13th, which will be unveiled at a launch event during LGBTQIA+ Welcome at the beginning of the fall 2022 semester. The flag design is inspired by the 2017 Philly Pride flag, which includes black and brown stripes showing acceptance towards all communities, alongside the slogan, Rutgers Rides with Pride. Rutgers President Jonathan Holloway will also be present at the launch. Find out more at outinjersey.net.
LGBTQ+ 1 Minute News. Let's queer up the USA view. From LGBTQ+ news partner, Bay Area reporter and writer Matthew S. Bachko. Dutch Queen meets with San Francisco LGBTQ+ leaders. San Francisco LGBTQ officials extended a royal welcome to Queen Maxima of the Netherlands, who visited along with other Dutch officials on Tuesday. The delegation toured San Francisco Castro District and interacted with local LGBTQ community members. The royal delegation paid a brief visit to the city's LGBTQ museum, where the Queen was shown the suit worn by late gay San Francisco supervisor Harvey Milk the morning of his assassination on November 27, 1978. The Queen also engaged in a friendly conversation with local LGBTQ leaders. Find out more at ebar.com.
LGBTQ+ 1 Minute News. Let's queer up politics. From LGBTQ+ News partner The Washington Blade and writer Karis White. Maryland Democratic Central Committee elects first 2 non-binary candidates. Maryland Democratic Central Committee has welcomed its first non-binary candidates on board. Tia Hopkins and Antonio Bowens have become the first ever openly non-binary candidates elected to the Maryland Democratic Central Committee. Hopkins was elected to represent District 40 in Baltimore City, and while talking to the Baltimore Banner, they expressed how joyous the experience was. This is the second run for Bowens, who was re-elected to represent Frederick County in 2018 on the female ticket. Bowens said that one of the goals as a committee member is to prepare potential candidates for success in future elections. Find out more at WashingtonBlade.com.
That is today's news for the LGBTQ+ community on the world's first and only daily LGBTQ+ evening news show.
If our community is important to you, share this news with your family and friends. Are you, like most of America, part of our very large television audience watching this live LGBTQ+ news right now on Roku, Apple TV, Android TV, and Amazon Fire TV?
Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ+ digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines. We need your support. If our community is to grow, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world.
This is the only place in the world that tells these types of LGBTQ+ stories in motion and sound. That is the passion of Hotspots Magazine, Happening Out Television Network, and Queer News Tonight.
I'm your anchor, FayWhat, on behalf of Mr. Al Ferguson, that'll be back next week, and on behalf of these LGBTQ+ reporters, these incredible reporters, the anchors of Queer News Tonight, including Dan Rios, John Hayden, Glen Weinzimer, and DJ Nena. We will see you daily at 8 p.m. To our LGBTQ+ world, we wish you good night.
LGBTQ+ news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Lara are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out Television Network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure the growth of the entire LGBTQ